War. War never changes. Neither does this fucking story.
But
been nothing but edgelord bullshit this entire time.
yeah, well, luckily this will probably be our last session. Where's some wood I can knock on? Oh Lord.
I mean, you could always just punch yourself in the dick.
I could, but that would hurt.
Yeah, but it would be an entertaining visual pun.
You can't really see me right now, so
I would get great joy from your pain.
Huh, okay. Thanks.
You're welcome. Anyway, this just absolutely obnoxious story is just going to be the death of me. Anyway, we're reading Time to Fix the Mistakes. August, we're on the last chapter. August 27th, 1980.
He'd agonized about this decision for days before he committed himself. Harry Potter was personally going to break into the Department of Mysteries for a second time in his life.
He wasn't supposed to be in this time, and now there was an official prophecy logged at in the Department of Mysteries about him. Talk about being subtle. Don't you fucking start.
You weren't subtle at all, man. Like, come on. He couldn't decide if it was vague enough not to be noticed, or ominous enough to be the talk of the department. Judging by the way he'd been scared at hearing the horrifying words, Harry leaned toward the prophecy being the talk of the department. He didn't really believe that unspeakables didn't have a method for learning about the contents of prophecies. Someone had to initially record them, after all. Were they obliviated of the knowledge once the spheres were made?
Or perhaps not. After all, someone had amended the prophecy between Voldemort and Voldemort plus Harry Potter. I don't ship it.
I don't really either.
Someone knew the events of the prophecy were well enough to modify the tag on it after after Halloween 1981 of the original timeline.
Harry had to go in. Or could he just use his imperious trick again? Hell, all his plans were changing moment to moment. He really did not want to go into the Department of Mysteries ever again.
Plans are changing moment to moment. It's like playing a game of Magic the Gathering against Tom. Your only real option is to curb stomp him. Otherwise, things go horribly wrong.
That's generally the idea of any Magic game, but
there's no point in having a plan. Just make the creature too big to deal with.
That's one way to do it, yes.
Congratulations. It's a 1,000 indestructible creature that has death touch when it attacks, because why not? Also, it's unblockable, so it's not really like the death touch means anything. Oh, what was that? It also has protection from white? Cool. Harry changed his mind again.
Instead of using the hairs he'd plucked from one Neil Bulrush, an unspeakable in the Hall of Prophecies, Harry decided to use Neil Bulrush.
He'd pluck hairs from 2 Neil Bulrushes. 3 even. Possibly a 4th. The man didn't need to touch the prophecy. He needed only to knock it off the shelf. Accidentally.
Harry apparated to where he knew Mr. Bulrush used the flue to enter the ministry. As an unspeakable, the aging wizard refused to have a flue connection in his own house, a security risk.
Well, you'd think so, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a way to teleport into my home. Harry waited for nearly 30 minutes before the short, gray wizard appeared. Harry waited a moment to... Stop with the waiting! Waited a moment to ensure the area in front of the Green Goblin pub. We'll meet again, Spider-Man!
That's where I heard that from.
The Green Goblin pub! They have to have known.
They probably did.
If they didn't, dear God. It's a Betsy spider.
Oh man.
Jesus fucking Christ. Ah, yes, my serious, dark, brooding story, Green Goblin.
It was funny because in the original Spider-Man one, the one with Tobey Maguire, the Green Goblin looks so much like a Power Rangers villain. It wasn't even funny. I mean,
Honestly,
it was
my
funny,
favorite
but
part is when he's just talking to Spidey on that rooftop and he leans against like the little glass, glass opening.
Mhm.
I don't know why, but that image makes me laugh.
I need to watch that movie again.
Green Goblin. Spider-Man 1. Rooftop. Images. There we go. That's the image. Like, this fucking image is the funniest fucking thing to me. Like, look at that. Yeah, I know it sucks that she left you, but you're gonna have to get over it eventually, pal. And just underneath Tobey Maguire's ugly crying.
I actually liked Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man, or Peter Parker. Not gonna lie, I think he did a pretty good job.
Oh, it's just the whole thing of like he's crying every 5 minutes. It's like, yeah, I have nothing against the guy crying, but you're doing it too much. I came here for heroics and soap opera shit, not never-ending tears.
Well, I mean, the Never-Ending Tears is kind of soap opera shit, so...
This is the story of a Spider-Man who tried to run around the whole world.
Oh, man. It's gonna be like that one time when you were just super exhausted and you started acting like just totally off the wall ridiculous.
I get 3 hours of sleep and 6 miles of hiking.
Okay, I'll take that as a maybe yes. This is the story of a Spider-Man that cried a river and drowned the whole world.
Drowned all of New York City. Now was said Gotham. I mean, Gotham is basically supposed to be New York City to the point where it actually has its own statue. But so does Metropolis.
Mm-hmm.
Why are there so many New York cities in the DC universe?
Because it's the most recognizable city in the United States, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, Gotham, if memory serves, actually was a nickname for New York City. Story of a Spider-Man who cried a river and drowned all of Brooklyn.
Okay, that'll work.
It's almost a rhyme.
Yeah.
Rhyme. It was either that or... Is Harlem in New York?
Harlem is in New York, I believe.
It was either that or Harlem. Okay. Green Goblin pub outside of Otery St. Catchpole was clear. He stunned the unspeakable, then apparated away with him. Britain's finest.
Aren't these supposed to be like the Wizard Black Ops?
Basically.
And
they're supposed to be like high. This would be like if like Harry just if someone were just effortlessly kidnap like a high ranking member of the CIA or some shit.
Neil Bulrush would be a couple minutes later than usual to work this morning. He'd also be extremely klutzy.
Are you drunk? No.
It's far too early for that. Knocks over something with his hand.
The man was bound quickly with ropes once Harry got him to a clear, open field and a field.
I guess so.
Yep, this wide open space is the perfect place for me to tie you up. A clear open field in Hertfordshire. Or Hertfordshire. One, two. Yeah, it'd be sure, not Shire. Hertfordshire.
Mm-hmm.
No one would be looking for a wizard here. Mommy, what's that weird man with the stick doing? To that old man. Harry pocketed the man's wand and did a search for port keys or other magical artifacts. He had nothing, a rather lax approach to personal security.
Again,
almost as if this isn't very well written.
Yeah, again, Wizard Black Ops. Harry woke the wizard up. Then he cast the Imperious Curse before Neil Bulrush had any clear idea what was going on.
Wait, don't the 3 unforgivable curses have like a sort of censor thing going on with them?
Maybe?
I could have swore that was the case.
I'll look it up real quick.
Okay, you look it up. Because, like, I could have swore that was part of the whole thing when he used Imperious on that goblin, is the fact that that meant that he was now going to have, that ended up, like, alerting people.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I'm just thinking, like, hey, a world in which you could track spells that are being used. Maybe do that. Granted, there are a lot of things that are completely spells that are completely illegally used that maybe shouldn't be.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like spells that make things explode.
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations, you basically have a long-range bomb in your hand.
Mm-hmm. I'm reading it. It doesn't seem like there's anything on it except like if you're caught doing it, you face a lifetime effect in a lifetime sentence in Azkaban.
You can do it, just don't do it when there are people around.
Huh. Weird. I mean, hold on. I'm gonna glance through the history one more time, see if I missed anything. Yep, nope, not seeing anything about any sensors on them.
Well, that's weird. You will answer my questions.
Yes, came the hollow voice.
Where the fuck did that come from?
Just replace hollow with disembodied voice and it makes it funnier.
You work in the Hall of Prophecies.
Yes, most days.
Did you register a new prophecy about a week ago referencing the Dark Lord?
Merlin, yes, it was awful.
You know the contents?
All the staff heard it. To think Trelawney of all people.
Harry stopped the man. The whole situation was worse than he'd expected. Worse than he'd You have learned nothing!
I have learned nothing. Just picture of adult Harry in this setting.
I've learned nothing, and it's worse than I feared. What?
Does anyone outside the Department of Mysteries know?
No. No outsiders have been inside the department for months.
How many unspeakables are in there?
Full time? That doesn't answer the question.
How many unspeakable have heard about the prophecy?
40 or 50, I guess.
Can any of them talk about it?
Not voluntarily, not about anything they hear in their work.
Harry's mind flew over his options, all the possibilities. He could destroy the sphere, but everyone already knew it. Just like all the unspeakables likely knew of the prophecy concerning Harry and Voldemort. The bastards! How dare they do their jobs?
For some reason, I read bastards as bards.
Huh.
No, dear God, they're trying to fuck everything. Would it be worthwhile to have it destroyed? If it was the only copy, then yes, but the words were also inside 40 or 50 people.
You okay there, man?
That was such a stupid way to phrase that. The words were inside 40 to 50 people. Like, what is this? That one fucking, like, what is it? Oh, trying to remember what the movie is. The Autopsy of Jane Doe? Yeah, what is this? The Autopsy of Jane Doe? Like, peel off their skin and there's just the words of the prophecy on the inside?
I mean, maybe. Probably not, though.
I mean, that would make things a lot more interesting. I need to get around to watching that movie.
Oh, Autopsy. Okay.
Autopsy of Jane Doe. Holy shit!
Jane Doe, yeah.
Jane Doe. Oh no, Joe. Hey guys, don't eat the Nogla. Aye. People who might wear trinkets to prevent memory charms. People who would be missed if they had accidents. Shut up.
Was she literally just debating trying to kill the wizard Black Ops, or at least some of them?
Just shut up, Harry.
Is there a ledger where all the prophecies get recorded?
Yes. Really a shit idea now that I think about it.
I want you to remove the tag from the new prophecy, but do not touch the sphere. Leave it in place. Remove the tags from another 100 spheres. Destroy those tags too. Modify or destroy the places in the records where the Trelawney prophecy appears. Can you do that?
Yes.
Make it look accidental if possible. Don't get caught.
Me. The dull-eyed wizard nodded. Harry released him and finally said, 7:30 this evening, you will develop a high fever. It will last for 3 days. Check yourself into St. Mungo's tomorrow morning as early as you can go. As soon as you walk into the door, your will shall return to you, but you will lose the last 2 weeks' worth of memories.
The wizard apparated away. He wasn't even struggling against the mental bond Harry had temporarily created with him. What was with all the weak wizards who work for the Department of Mysteries? Were they the best the ministry could find?
No, it's probably just shitty writing.
I was about to say it's probably just the author being incompetent.
He apparated back to the White Estate and hoped he'd made the right decision. He usually hasn't. Harry and right decisions go together like oil and water.
Mm-hmm.
Nope.
Are we talking this Harry specifically, or just Harry in general?
Harry specifically.
Okay.
Other Harry, sometimes he's an idiot.
Mm-hmm. But not all the time, which is part of why he's a good character.
Let's see. Destroying the prophecy could attract attention. Arranging for the prophecy to be lost among tens of thousands of spheres wouldn't be as dramatic, and the dulling effects of time would do the rest.
Eventually, people would forget. Harry hoped it was enough.
September 1st, 1980.
A gray-bearded man sat in his office deep inside the Ministry of Magic. He was appointed by no Minister of Magic. He answered to no Wizengamot elder. He was a bit of a law unto himself.
Oh, shut up. Everything that happened inside the Department of Mysteries was his responsibility. Colleagues called him Tasker. That's a really stupid name. Just as every previous head of the department was known as Tasker. Really stupid name. His wife knew of none of this, of course. Wives were never told. So is this position just specifically held by men and lesbians?
It's possible.
God, wives were never told. God damn it. Fucking stupid line. Fucking stupid. You could have just said, his wife knew none of this, of course, because it was a government fucking secret. She believed he still held a position with the Committee of Experimental Charms.
Tasker did, of course, continue to work for the committee, in an advisory capacity. Most of his time was spent on Level 9. Heading the Department of Mysteries was a lot of work.
Let's see. Day, and for the last several weeks, Tasker have been attempting to put together the pieces of mystery. Is it why this story exists? Because I've been wanting to know that.
I think we all want to know that.
Waiting on... Oh, wait, no. Yeah, waiting on you.
Yeah, sorry, I forgot that it was my line. That locket mess, what with the Slytherin locket exploding when that poor man had been working on it, hadn't seemed too odd at the time. But things only kept getting stranger.
Yeah, don't even get me started on that psychic child and the weird aliens from another dimension.
Wait, what?
The D&D. It's a reference, Tom.
To...
Stranger Things.
Oh! I need to watch that.
Yes. There's third season came out on the 4th of July.
I need to start from season 1 because I still haven't watched it yet. It's on my list.
The disappearances of a few people, including the recent Hogwarts graduate Peter Pettigrew, was remarked upon in a few other jots of paper. He'd also had the recent killings of those who had spoken before the Truth Commission written down. Wow, it's almost as if Harry is terrible at being covert.
He had a newspaper clipping with the image of a massive dead basilisk.
Fuck you, Harry.
Yeah,
Then
no,
he
out of all the things, I think that was probably the biggest dick move he pulled.
Yes. Fuck you. Then he had the page out of the prophecy ledger. The entire page's contents were destroyed. 17 entire prophecy spheres were now inaccessible to the researchers because of the error.
It seemed the most interesting recent prophecy concerning Voldemort and someone labeled the Master of Time and Death, a much more disturbing title, Tasker thought, than Voldemort, had utterly disappeared onto one of the 300-plus shelves in the Hall of Prophecies.
That would have just called it a rather stupid title. I've come up with some stupid titles. That's a stupid title. That's a try-hard title. That's the title that an edgy 14-year-old gives themselves.
And
what's this villain's name? The Master of Time and Death. Yeah, I think I have better things to do than deal with this jackass. You know, there's some people knocking up a liquor store. That'd be a more productive use of time than dealing with some child. People who made their way up the ranks of the unspeakables didn't believe in luck or coincidence or chance. They believed in the actions of man. No gods are king, is only man. Got it. In the own things they had done to secure their positions. You're really bad at Randian philosophy.
Tasker thought he saw the glimpse of one or more men in the latest happenings. What they meant he didn't know. Could it be the rise of a new Dark Lord? Setting a basilisk on a rampage seemed to suggest it, but doing so when Hogwarts was empty seemed to say something else.
Almost as if it was done when there were specific people there.
This next line.
The clues were very confused.
Dumb line, and I love it. Slytherin's locket had obviously been cursed with a variety of dark enchantments, but no one had determined what they were. That prophecy sphere spoke of a new darkness, and it too was gone. How had someone twice infiltrated his department, assuming these accidents weren't accidents? The people who knew about the locket wouldn't know how to access the prophecy register.
There were also other clues. Were there also other clues Tasker had identified? And what did a new Hogwarts graduate have to do with any of this? Why did the prophecy speak of unhinging the world and countless timelines? They now have a Time Walker in their midst? That's a stupid name. It was rumored Merlin could move forward and backward through time. No, it was stated he aged backwards so that he could see the future. There's a difference.
Mm-hmm.
Moving and changing things at will. Tasker had never believed stories like that before, but he never had such odd things happen. Never heard a prophecy like this one from a month ago.
Tasker decided to devote some resources to the problem. Perhaps he'd find some more clues. Perhaps he'd uncover some additional oddities or find a new mystery to research and solve.
Perhaps he'd get to the bottom of all this nonsense. This entire story's nonsense.
Just
He
a
didn't
little
like people mucking around inside his department. I don't like people fucking around with terrible stories. Or terrible writing cliches. No, not at all.
September 20th, 1980.
Septimus Crouch. What is he the seventh of?
He's the seventh son.
Well, Bartimus needs to learn how to use a condom. For one. And two, dear God. That... A distant relative to that awful imprisoned Barty Crouch. Have you heard of the Septimus Heap series?
No, I can't say I have.
It's a book series, and it's like the whole thing is. I think I've read like the first two, like way back when. And the whole thing is that the reason why the main character is named Septimus is because he's the seventh son of a seventh son.
Okay.
Septimus literally means like seventh.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
What's the series called again? I think
I'm pretty sure it's just like Septimus Heap or something like that. Yeah, it literally means the seventh son. Why would you?
All right, just breathe. We're almost done.
Apparated onto the roads outside of what was listed as an old magical estate. The department had recently noticed renewed magic emanating from the place. Like, here's the thing. It, like, most people who would, like, use that name would have it to where the character was the seventh son. I'm not giving the writer the benefit of that doubt.
No, just based on past experience, I don't think they would have thought that far ahead, honestly.
Your line.
Yeah. Sorry, I lost my place for a sec. Like all mysteries, this one deserved an explanation.
I think we deserve an explanation for why this story exists. He surveyed the grounds. Everything looked neat and tidy. Either the place was unoccupied and had a groundskeeper, or someone had taken up residence at the former White Estate.
Septus pulled out an old invisibility cloak and walked up the long road to the massive building. A muggle named Thomas Franklin owned the place, and there was definitely someone living here. No automobile.
Septimus was excited. He hadn't had a genuine magical mystery in quite some time.
It's a magical mystery tour. He opened the door and walked inside the building. He wordlessly cast a few detection spells. There was definitely faded magic inside here. Some wards of ancient design and a few other unclear magical signatures.
Let's see. He walked down the hallway until he came to the first set of wards. He walked inside and was immediately taken back to his days at Hogwarts when Madame Purcell had taught him to read tea leaves. Septimus didn't have an ounce of divinatory ability, but the class had been amusing. Far better than history with the young, dreadful, boring Bins.
Septimus never noticed another person sneak up behind him. He never even saw the wand that stunned him. Because apparently everyone except for Harry in this story is incompetent.
Well, no, in this case, it's more that he walked into a thing full of memory magic.
Even so.
So apparently he apparently just suddenly thought that he was back in school.
Okay.
You'd think that someone who was, like dealt with mysteries would, I don't know not to walk into a ward.
Yeah, well.
He slumped forward, unable to move. His investigation had come to an abrupt end.
Harry Potter had felt the other wizard's presence the moment he set foot on the White Estate. The wards didn't keep anyone out, but they did warn Harry as to what was going on.
Seems someone has cottoned on to Thomas Franklin buying to Thomas Franklin buying the White Estate. Harry was working through the implications out loud. You know, that thing that most people in real life don't actually do.
September 21st.
Done in movies for the sake of getting exposition out. But hey, you know what you don't need to do? This, because you already explained that someone was catching on.
September 21st, 1980.
Took Harry a while to seal up the White Estate and head for a safe house with the stunned prisoner in tow.
He would obviously need to hide himself better if he'd already been tracked down. Hiding in plain sight seemed like a good idea, but it rarely worked as planned. Too many fiction writers had embraced the concept, leaving even wizards the world over protected.
Fuck off. Fuck you. Fuck off. Just God damn it. Don't you try to pull this meta bullshit when you're writing this shit. God. Too many people do this thing that I just did. Found his prisoner in a chair and administered truth serum before waking the man.
What's your
Too
name?
many writers rely on truth serum.
What's your name?
Septimus. He clopped his mouth shut. What? To avoid saying anything else.
Last name or first?
First name.
Harry had to hold back a smile. The Veritas serum was working, but this man had been taught how to work within the truth serum to say as little as possible.
What's your last name?
Crouch.
In relation to Bottomus Crouch.
Second cousin.
Harry decided to use loaded questions as much as possible. How long have you been working for the Department of Mysteries?
29 years.
Harry briefly nodded. He nodded briefly. Why were you investigating the White Estate?
We investigate mysteries.
You fucking idiot.
Even through the drug, the man's tone was hateful.
Hey, I relate to this man. Explain the mystery that brought you there.
A moment passed. He was considering what to say. Old, formerly magical estates rarely get new magic flowing into them.
You track magic throughout Britain.
Yes.
Why didn't you track Unforgivables during the war?
We did.
Harry got off track for a moment. This was a genuine curiosity of his. Why had the Ministry fared so poorly in both timelines when dealing with Voldemort? Explain why the Ministry didn't act on the information.
It never left the department.
Harry gritted his teeth. You tracked the use of Unforgivables. Other officers tracked other information, including underage magic, and no one shared, correct?
Yes.
You know, when you try to do this shit, Oh god, it's the fucking live action Beauty and the Beast thing all over again. And I don't mean the CGI Emma Watson. Basically, in order to fix what people way back when were complaining about as plot holes, they decided to do things that fix them, but in actuality, create more problems and weaken the story and the world building. Why weren't they tracking unforgivable curses? Oh, they were. It's just that the Department of Mysteries wasn't sharing it outside of their department. Why?
That's a good question. I don't think this story is going to be able to answer that.
God. Yes.
No, I read that one already.
Pretty sure. Okay. Harry loathed bureaucracies. I loathe this story.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a shame that he'd helped foist his grandfather into heading the current mess of a Ministry of Magic. Shut the fuck up. Nothing could destroy a bureaucracy. Things that could infect and twist them, but never destroy and end them. Clearly, you haven't heard of the French Revolution. In which, when the new leaders decided to act like shitheads, they were also decapitated.
Mm-hmm.
Don't give me this shit. Save for the end of a civilization. Again, guillotine. Solves a lot of problems.
The guillotine, the end of a civilization.
Solves most of mine.
How many mysteries outside the department are people dispatched to investigate in any given month?
It varies, because work. 5 to 20.
That was a low number.
It's a small wizard population.
The name Thomas Franklin and the White Estate might stay inside people's memories for quite some time. Plus, there was this new prophecy in effect. Harry did not like his life right now.
I don't like you. What did you expect to find at the White Estate?
A magical vagrant, perhaps, or a clutch of Death Eaters living here. We haven't caught them all, of course.
It'd be probably physically impossible to do so. What should he do, Harry wondered, if he'd somehow attracted the attention of the unspeakable? Well, you kidnapped one. Multiple, actually.
Mm-hmm.
But not for the right reasons. Harry had used the Imperious Curse on 2 unspeakables to force them to steal from or otherwise sabotage the Department of Mysteries, but this man was investigating merely why an old magical estate was putting out magic again.
It was the littlest things that foul up the world. Harry frowned.
Like this story. It fouls up everything.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God. Let's see. Why were you looking at the White... Wait. Yeah, why were you looking at the White Estate in the first place?
The head unspeakable Tasker had us comparing every instance of magic with known wizards and witches. We're investigating every place not known to the Ministry as the registered home of a magical person.
That's a really stupid code name. Yes. It just is. God. Harry felt a smile creep across his face. He's been nothing but a creep this whole time. Perhaps these people were looking for him for the right reasons.
Why?
I never understood, Tasker. It's not what I asked you.
It was a random decision to have unspeakables searching Britain for unexplained magical signatures? What?
If you say so.
Harry had to chuckle to himself. Whoever had trained Septimus Crouch in anti-interrogation techniques had done a good job, but very few could resist the Imperious Curse. Oh,
The curse settled into Crouch. One could resist Veritas here if they knew how to answer little or misdirect. No one, save for those who could throw off the Imperious itself, could avoid answering under the curse.
Tell me why you came to the White Estate.
Tasker is looking for someone.
Who?
Someone who has been interfering in the Eternal Department operations.
Confirmation. It made Harry extremely nervous.
Good.
Why the White Estate?
It's one of nearly 100 places we're looking into.
That made Harry feel a bit safer. It had been sheer bad luck that the White Estate had been added on to a bureaucratic list.
Fuck off. Tell me who Tasker is.
I do not know. No one does.
I'm not entirely sure the man actually has a face. Weird.
It's the question.
Nah, let's stray away from Randian philosophy. He's inoperable. I mean, the question's philosophy is what created the character of Rorschach, because he's supposed to be a satire of that kind of person who believes that they're always in the right regardless of the situation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like Harry.
Mm-hmm.
Harry believed that there had been a tasker in the ministry when Harry had been head of Roar, and no one knew who that man was either.
Harry stunned Septimus Crouch. He had to think and decide on his next actions. It wouldn't be right.
Why start now?
It wouldn't be right just to kill or maim this man because of his unluckiness in drawing the White Estate. But he couldn't just memory charm the man and send him on his way.
Memory charms could be broken, of course, and folks like Unspeakables might even be regularly tested for them. Like STDs.
He's used the Imperious Curse to force two Unspeakables to forget what they'd done for Harry, but no one had expected them to have any memories of breaking into the Department of Mysteries. Septimus Crouch was on an official mission. He couldn't just return with a huge hole in his memories, could he?
You could return with a huge hole in your head, Harry.
Mm-hmm.
I can arrange that. He needed to think. He was being hunted and didn't intend to get caught. He had to slow things down a bit, be cautious, be cagey. Nicholas Cagey. He had to steal the Magna Carta. Wait.
October 31st, 1980.
Harry Potter had gone into exile in America temporarily. Septimus Crouch was currently inside a magical trunk accompanying Harry. Yeah, that's not suspicious. He still had not decided how to handle the wizard who'd come to the estate. There were no good solutions. The man was alive, but no longer free to do as he pleased. Not unconscious in a trunk like a certain Aurora had been. Harry had known much earlier in his life.
He sat in the small apartment he'd arranged in Queens. This was the first time he'd set foot inside since he'd arranged for it.
He was doodling on a scrap of paper as he tried to decide how to make it safely back into Britain. He really wanted to lower his profile, but hiding in the estate hadn't exactly worked, had it?
Perhaps he needed a more public persona, one registered with the ministry, one no one would think to investigate.
I'm sorry, what?
Instead of hiding in plain sight, let's stop hiding. That's
It shouldn't be too hard to create the credentials that would withstand scrutiny, would it? Okay, you know what's typically going to happen if, like, an investigation is being sabotaged? You know, like, the first people that are going to be investigated? Those within that organization. Just gonna put that out there.
Harry stood up from his rickety table and threw a coat on. He needed to walk off his excess energy. He decided to head over to Magister Avenue, the wizarding section of New York City. It was only a few dozen blocks. In the cold morning air, it would help to calm him and clear his mind.
Let's see. He walked into the wizard library first. He was trying to finalize a few details on his new persona before venturing back into Britain.
He grabbed a stack of annuals from Australia's Gandy-Turn School of Magic and was heading for a table when he spotted a copy of the Daily Prophet.
He almost dropped the books from his hands.
Canterline massacred. Werewolf Greyback involved. Killed.
He snatched up the newspaper and read. He hadn't thought of Daphnis Cantor, Voldemort's rumored wife or her child in quite some time. Yeah, because it's stupid. The Death Eaters had been premature, it seemed, in assuming her dead.
A bloody scene confronted this reporter, Rita Skeeter writes. When I arrived at the Cantor estate in Moribund Westley, Devonshire, yesterday, 17 members of the Cantor family, including famous dark witch Daphnis Cantor, were found dead. Ranging in age from 100 plus to a toddler still in nappies, the entire Cantor line is now extinguished.
Now, Dark Witch is a bit insensitive. She prefers African English. Voldemort's child. Voldemort's stupid fucking child was dead. This massacre was another jolt to the calm. First the witnesses at the Truth Commission, then the prophecy that few knew about, then this.
The only sign about who might have committed this heinous act was the presence of the vile werewolf.
Yes, werewolf. Rita Skeeter, are you okay?
No, she's a mosquito.
She didn't turn into a mosquito. She turned into a beetle.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. Skeeter. Fucking...
Get your lore straight, son.
It's been a while since I've read Harry Potter. The vile werewolf Fenrir Greyback, known for his attacks on children and his support for the vanquished you-know-who. No Auror would commit officially, but several mentioned that they firmly believed Greyback had been part of the attacking force.
No one at the Ministry of Magic has yet suggested, What no one at the Ministry of Magic has yet suggested is a motive for this attack. While much of the Cantor family remained neutral after in the last war, a few notables followed the call of the Ministry, and a few followed you-know-who, especially Daphnis Cantor. Rumored paramour of you-know-who himself. I, for one, do not expect a satisfactory answer any time soon, given the general intellectual apathy of the entire Auror force. But I know my rabid readers would wish for a clear and immediate answer as to who would do such a thing.
Harry Potter also wanted an answer to that question.
The prophecy Sybil Trelawney had uttered was undoubtedly enforced. Harry had changed. Holy shit. History had changed, but hadn't changed into peace. Something
Really?
Harry had done or not done in this new timeline had settled something. Voldemort was surely dead, but a new form of evil had just firmly announced itself.
Something wicked this way comes.
Something wicked this way rides. Harry sat in the library, his Australian research into possible new identities forgotten. He tried to piece together what the newspaper article meant. He got nowhere. It was maddening. And that's where this shit ends.
Yeah, let's just say it ends up Harry got in over his head and ended up dying. The end.
Maltonia was sent by the gods to assassinate him.
Okay, cool. That'll work. Well.
I forgot about that picture of Green Goblin.
Does it make you feel a little better?
I'll see you later, Spider-Man.
See y'all next time.
Oh God, that story is just god awful.